Hey there, welcome. My name is Jessica Buchanan, and I'm a New York Times bestselling author, professional speaker, and founder of Soul Speak Press, a non-traditional publishing company created for women who've been through something, now they know something, and they can teach us something. In Her Words is a podcast designed to support aspiring memoir authors on their writing and publishing journey. It's hard work, this writing and publishing stuff, and I want to empower you with encouragement and information so you can keep sharing your truth. So grab your coffee, your notebook, find a quiet space, and let's dive in. Hey there, welcome back to another episode of In Her Words. I'm your host, Jess Buchanan, and I am excited to be here with you today. I'm going to be bringing you a few more independent solo episodes because there's a lot going on and there's a lot I want to talk about, and there's a lot of things I'm going to share with you. Right now we're like in, we're like in the second week of January, and we have a big book launch happening at the end of January for my own personal anthology series and brand, Desert to Mountaintops. So the third volume, The Pilgrimage of Motherhood, is coming out on January 25th. 2025. Always my anthologies come out on the 25th of January because that's the anniversary of my rescue. And it's my big liberation day. It's my freedom day. And so that day is just like my good luck day, right? And it's filled with just really awesome memories of that next part of my life, like getting to live. And so it's just such a huge profound memory, obviously, for me, that I love releasing a book on that day. And so there are 22 authors, me included, who have journeyed through for the last year, putting together our Pilgrimage of Motherhood stories and put them into this beautiful book. It's right here. You can see it. Oops, that way, right there. And I'm really excited about the book launch. We have a lot of things still to get ready, and a lot of things that we've been working on. Our authors have been working really, really hard, which is one of the things I love about these anthology experiences, is that the book launch doesn't have to be done in isolation, and it's not on any one person's back, meaning me. to promote and to launch this thing. And so I thought today, for today's episode, I would share 5 ways that I'm getting ready for this book launch to hopefully inspire you if you have an upcoming book, or you've been thinking about how you would promote a book, and if it feels overwhelming. It probably should, if you're doing it right, because it is kind of overwhelming. There are a lot of things to keep in mind. There are a lot of details and lots of I's to dot and T's to cross. A book launch, it can be done in so many different ways, and I watch different authors do it in so many different ways all the time, mainly because my books include so many other authors. We have we do a big celebration. We make it a real big deal. I build that into my anthology experiences, as a matter of fact. And so not every book launch, not every author has a big, huge party with hundreds of people to celebrate their book coming out every year. That's just how I roll. That's what I like to do. But before we get to that, there are a couple of things that I do, and that I'm very focused on right now. Right now, like after I get done recording this, I'm going to go send like hundreds of emails to get advance reviews. But I wanted to just share a couple of our tried and true methods that have led us to very successful book launches. Not one of our books that's come through Soul Speak Press that's published with us has not been hit the bestseller list in several categories on Amazon. Now, I had a call with a woman like before Christmas, and I was telling her this, and she's like, yeah, well, I got to be honest with you. I don't think that any bestseller list matters outside of the New York Times. And I was like, okay, that's fine. I mean, I've been on that one too. And I mean, I see your point, but most of us are not, even if we are traditionally publishing, unless you're like a celebrity, you're not going to sell 20,000 books within the first 2 weeks of the sale of your book. You're not going to sell 20,000 books in the lifetime of your book, unless you have really done the hard work of building out your network and um, you know that that's for sure. And then you've gotten a book deal with one of the top five publishers in New York. They hold the market on that. So these recommendations are for, the regular person who has something to say and something to teach us. And I still think hitting the Amazon bestseller list is something. I was talking to another friend yesterday who's an author, and she's been published many times traditionally. She has a book coming out in March, and that's what she's focused on, is her Amazon bestseller, hitting the Amazon bestseller list. So anyway, for what that's worth. Okay. So my first recommendation for you for a successful book launch is to ask for help. Okay. So I am busy emailing everyone I know and everyone who's reached out to me over Instagram through viral reels and said they would give me an advance review to read my chapter, Mind Over Matter in the Pilgrimage of Motherhood. And I'm asking everybody to go ahead and read that chapter and then write a review and send it to me so that I can look it over and then send it back to them the day before the book goes on sale, so that Amazon, they can then purchase our book and put the review in as a verified Amazon purchaser and reviewer, because that will help our numbers and that will help get us onto the bestseller list. Now, it's a whole thing, it's a whole deal, it's a whole algorithm game. I don't have time, nor do I have the breadth of understanding to really break it down for you. I just know that the more reviews you have and the more verified reviews you can get posted on your book on the day of launch within the first 24 hours of your book going on sale, the more the Amazon algorithm is going to put your book in front of people, and the more people that don't know you or don't know about your book are going to purchase your book. And at the end of the day, isn't that what we want? We want as many people to read our stories and to get their hands on our books as possible. So if you can rally your community and your network around you, ask them, to read your chapter, send over an advance review a couple weeks in advance. Tell them that you're going to send them an email with directions on what to do and how to purchase the ebook. We always discount our ebooks to $1 to make it more attractive for people to actually post the reviews. Encourage them to buy the paperback too if they want, or the hardcover, whatever you're doing. But that way, the only investment is a little bit of their time and then $1 of their money, and that will help boost your sales. All right. It's a really big deal to have. Most of our books usually have a couple hundred reviews. I have to admit, like, reviews mean a lot to me. When I'm looking at a book and I'm contemplating purchasing it and spending my time and money reading it, I'm looking at the reviews and I'm looking at what people have to say. I look at reviews before I buy anything, any clothes, anything. I want to hear the customer service aspect. The customer service or customer satisfaction is very important to me. So reviews are important. They matter and they mean a lot, and whether it's a book or a hairbrush. So the more reviews we can get, the better off we're going to be. And so that's really where we're focusing our efforts right now. The second thing is that I am talking about this a lot on Instagram and Facebook, on my socials, and and LinkedIn. I'm more active on Instagram, and then there's a rollover onto Facebook. And so every other post is about this book. You may feel like you're over talking it. I'll feel like I'm over talking it, but the bottom line is like 3% or something of your audience. I have, like, right now, I think like 91,000 followers on Instagram. Very few, like a couple thousand people that follow me are actually seeing my content. So, and it's not the same couple thousand every time. So the more I post, the more likely it's going to be that people in my network and in my community are going to see that I have a book coming out at the end of January, and want to support me, but they can't support you if they don't know. And I see this all the time. Authors will post like once a week and think that that's enough because they don't want it to be overkill, and no one has seen anything and no one has come out to support them. They're disappointed, they feel unsupported, and I'm like, well, you didn't really talk about it. I haven't seen you posting. You've posted once. You got to like bang, but what I have this friend who always talks about banging the drum, like just go walking. You have to be like, you have to be really strong, thick skinned, and have a lot of confidence, or don't, but still continue doing it. You have to keep talking about it. Hey, I wrote this book. Hey, I wrote this chapter. It's coming out at the end of January. I want you to read it. I want you, please give me an advance review. Please tell me what you thought. Please support me. And you have to do it over and over and over again. Okay. So the third thing is that we've pretty much decided, but like, do not go into a book launch if you haven't decided about your PR and your marketing plan. What are you going to do for PR? What are you going to do for marketing? For us, we have someone on our team, Mika, who's going to be listening to this podcast. She does all of our podcasting, and she does all of our scheduling and pitching, and she's put together a pitch deck, and she's going to be doing the podcast tour, essentially putting the podcast tour together for this book. And I'm really excited about that and to offer that service to our clients as well. Most of the time we refer them out. PR is really expensive. I have done that. I've done everything. I've been doing books and PR and speaking for, good Lord, 12 years, going on 13 years. And I've learned a lot. I've had the whole gamut of experiences. When Impossible Odds came out, I was one of those lucky 1 in a million kind of people where there was a lot of interest in this book because of SEAL Team 6. And we did a whole publicity tour. We did all the talk shows. We did all the night show. I mean, it was like, looking back, I wish I could do them now because I could enjoy I could enjoy the experience in a different way than I could then. Then I was just like trying to survive because my PTSD was so bad, and I had a baby that never slept, and I just felt like really, I was just like new from, I lived in Africa for 10 years. I just, it was just really hard. And now I do not have the same opportunities unless I hire out for them. And that would probably cost me about 50 grand, and I'm not willing to invest that. So what we're doing now is we're pitching and we're scheduling podcast interviews because, as Lauren would say, podcasts are the new news. For the first Deserts to Mountaintops, we did hire out a big PR firm, and we did like a lot of, like, I traveled for podcast interviews. I traveled to be on some talk shows. I wouldn't say that I thought that it really moved the needle on book sales or client conversion. I think it depends on what you want. If you want to sell books and that's your main objective from doing a PR and a marketing tour, and then going into local bookstores, seeing if they'll stock your book, doing book events, going into Barnes and Noble, seeing if they'll do the same thing. You're just going to have to like pound pavement probably unless you hire somebody. I would recommend doing a podcast tour over trying to do a bookstore tour. I had someone reach out to me. It was like about a year ago, and I might have talked about this on the show already, but she had a book coming out, and it seemed that like it was a bit academic. And her publisher was definitely academic. It was a university publisher. And she had hired the publicity team that I had worked with on the first Deserts to Mountaintops, and I'd had a really great experience with them. I really enjoyed working with them, but it was expensive. And I think, and I always try to be really transparent with y'all. I think it was about 10 grand to work with them for 2.5 months. So it was not chump change. And I referred her out to them, and she started working with them, and then she came back around to me, and she was like disgruntled because they hadn't put together a bookstore tour for her. She wanted to do like a multi-city bookstore tour, and they were like, yeah, we don't really do that. And she was like, what's the deal? And I was like, oh yeah, like authors don't really do that anymore. Because people don't really go to bookstores anymore. There are a few. I'll do one in May out in Phoenix for Changing Hands, because we have local authors out that way. And our head of editing, our copy editor, Ilsa, lives out there, and we've had a really good time and really good experience with them. But they're an indie bookstore and they support indie publishers and indie authors. But like my own local public bookstores here in the Alexandria area where I live, they don't support indie authors and indie publishers. So, we really focus our efforts on mass reach, which is podcasts. And this is just like, I think something that has also changed with social media as well, right? Like social media, I talk about this all the time, has changed the landscape and the course of the publishing industry as a whole. And I think podcasting has as well, So if you're thinking about what to do in terms of where to invest your marketing dollars, definitely hire a podcasting pitching service. We have wonderful people that we work with that we could refer you to. Kim Roy is someone that we work with. So reach out and we'll connect you. Okay, the fourth thing I would say is that we're planning on doing is celebrating. Okay, this is a really big accomplishment. For me with DTM, I have a big, huge book launch party every year, like the weekend that the book comes out. The book comes out on a Saturday, and so we're having the launch party on the same day. So it's going to be quite the day for us. But we're excited. I think we've RSVP'd like over 100 people so far. We're having it at a big art center down on the Potomac River in Alexandria, Virginia. If you're listening to this and you're local, please come. It's free. And we hope to sell a lot of books. I mean, our authors travel in from all over the country. I have some from Canada. I believe we have one coming in from Australia. I mean, it's a big deal. And so we celebrate these accomplishments and we have a good time. We have a big party. The fifth suggestion, well, before I move on to that, do you have to have a big party and a big book launch when you publish a book? No. But I definitely recommend that you have a dinner or you have like a cocktail hour or you do something, a brunch, and have your advanced reader and your book launch team, the people who provided you with reviews, the friends that have supported you, you should thank them and you should acknowledge yourself and your commitment to this purpose in some way. It's definitely deserves appreciation and to be recognized and noticed. So don't just like let the day that your book comes out go by without celebrating, and a post on Instagram is not enough. Okay, and then the fifth thing I'm planning on doing is resting. Because this is a marathon, not a sprint. Our spring is lined up with all kinds of events to promote the book. We're going out to a big conference in Palm Springs, California in March, which is a big investment of our marketing dollars here at Soul Speak Press. But we want to, we want to sell more books. We want to get the word out about Soul Speak Press. We want to be able to attract more authors. I'm doing an events here locally. I'm doing events in Denver and in Phoenix that I just mentioned. I have a lot of speaking events lined up where we'll sell books too. So, I will continue to, bang the drum about this book, about Soul Speak Press, about all of our other books, for probably until I'm dead. So, this is not, I think a lot of times authors will be like, okay, the launch is over. Now my job is done. No, your job's just getting started. It's time to actually like tell people about the book. And now that you've written your chapter, now it's time to sell the book. So, don't get discouraged. Don't feel like you have to do it all in 1 month or in the first 6 months. It's a long-term deal here. Be patient with yourself, pace yourself, but don't give up and don't forget, that publishing a book it's a lifetime thing. It's going to be out there forever, and you put all this work and all this time and all this investment into it, you might as well make it worth something. You might as well sell it, right? So with that, I'm going to sign off and I'm going to go email a bunch of people to be on my book launch team because I still need a lot of advanced reviews back. But if you have any questions about how to do a book launch, I'd love to connect with you. You can always book a coaching session with me, pick my brain session, and I'd love to connect with you. But the most important thing is that you just keep writing.
In Her Words is hosted by me, Jessica Buchanan, and is produced by Soul Speak Press, a non-traditional publishing house for women who are ready to tell their story. If you would like to know more about our submission process, I encourage you to check us out at www.soulspeakpress.com or follow us over on Instagram at soulspeakpress. We appreciate all your questions, and if you would like to leave us a review, we would be so grateful.